Hello, Superboy fans, and welcome back to Superboy the Legacy Podcast. I'm your host, Sam Rizzo, and with me, as always, is my co-host, Tom Gallagher. How's it going, Tom?
I'm doing pretty well. Excited for today.
Yeah, we're gonna talk about. You're gonna pitch a season 5 episode. We haven't done a season 5 pitch in since we started the podcast. I want to say.
Yeah, it's been a long time. Like we've done 2 episodes, so this is episode 3. But it's been like 3 months, and obviously we did a live show a couple of days ago before we recorded this, and someone asked about season 5, like when are we going to do another episode? So yeah, we're doing it now.
Yeah, we're gonna talk season 5. You're gonna pitch this episode. I don't even think you told me the title of this. I think you told me just a little bit.
Yeah, I told you the title in the live show and
a
slight clue about one of the themes.
Okay.
But, yeah. Should we just get started?
Let's get started. You know what? I'm gonna play the theme a little bit in the background as you intro this. Okay.
Okay. From a distant planet. This is Superman season. Well, the Adventures of Superman now, as it is, season 5, episode 3, the Byrne. And I'll just dive right in over the music. It opens in a house. It's the end of whatever happened to the man of tomorrow. And you see a child's hand picking up a lump of coal, crushing it into diamond. Jordan Elliott, a mustachioed former man of steel, picks up the diamond, smiling. Lois is looking out the door as the person who was just interviewing her drives away. Just for the record, since I needed a different Earth Superman for this intro, and he needs to have a mustache, I thought Tom Selleck would be an interesting choice for the time period. I mean, you need a big, strong man with a mustache. Who else are you going to choose? But yeah, her face drops as she looks into the Lois's face drops as she looks into the distance. The horror of what she sees is overwhelming. She turns back to Jordan Elliott / Clark Kent and says, "You're going to want to see." But before she can finish speaking, fire blasts through the house, Lois turning into a skeleton and dust, Terminator 2, Sarah Connor's dream style. The ground falls out from under the house, fire and magma everywhere. Jordan / Clark looks down to where his son used to be. He falls to his knees on the one piece of floor that remains. He screams in pain and fury before blasting off into the sky, Superman the movie style when Lois Lane does. As he looks down at the earth below, he sees huge chunks of the ground have been blasted away. A huge tidal wave of energy blasting it from existence. There's nothing left of the earth now. No ash, no dust, no fire, just nothing. Like the earth is being erased from existence by some unknowable force. He flies around the space where earth used to be, the few chunks that remain drifting through space. He flies faster and faster, trying to reverse time to save his family, but it's not working. There's no earth to reverse, just dust. He doesn't stop. He keeps flying faster and faster until his body begins to break down, his skin flaking off his face, screaming the whole time. It's like every molecule of his being is breaking down. He doesn't stop. He can't stop. Until he too is gone, just like everything else, the entire earth gone. And just as we see a shot of the space where it used to be, the stars start blinking out one by one until the screen is pure black. Title credits.
Ooh, that's interesting. That is creepy. Very, very dark.
I'll cut in a clip now of the season 5 theme, which was my remix of the Lois and Clark theme mixed with Superboy.
Cue the music. Here you go, Kevin Kiner.
Now we're back to Earth 88, as I like to call it. Open in the skies of Metropolis, as Superman is flying, he stops to help a cat stuck in a tree in typical Superman style, before flying away down an alley where he changes his clothes back into Clark Kent. He walks into the Daily Planet building before stopping, running back outside, across the street and into a donut shop. Next scene, Clark smiles as he enters the newsroom, a box of donuts in hand. He walks through, various Daily Planet staff members take one, each with a "Thanks, Clark." As he reaches Lois's desk, where she sits hard at work, Clark says, "I thought I'd have more of a selection for you, but there's just one left." Lois looks up from her computer. "Jelly filled?" Clark says, "Sorry." Says, no thanks. Jimmy appears out of nowhere. I'll take it. It's all yours, Jimbo. Lois stops typing. Jimbo? I was trying something. It didn't work. Lois chuckles to herself. Lane, Kent, my office, shouts Perry White. Just in the nick of time. Was almost getting bored, Lois says as she hits save on her computer and print. Cut to downtown Metropolis. Police have cordoned off an alley. Lois and Clark approach, Lois saying, another nutjob targeting homeless in Metropolis. Damn shame. Whoa. Lois looking into the alley is suddenly at a loss for words. The entire alley is covered in scorch marks, huge tears into the walls. A steel dumpster half melted. Clark asks, what happened here? To the cop. It's the strangest thing. Witnesses say they saw a bright light. And just as the officer's retelling of what happened fades off, we fade into the early hours of that morning and see for ourselves what happened. There's a bright flashing light, lightning shooting throughout the alley, killing a homeless man, leaving melted matter just everywhere, and in a Terminator-esque moment, a naked man falls to the ground with the camera cleverly placed not to show anything. The man gets up from the ground. We don't see their face, but we do see their head move to look at the dead homeless man. I'm sorry, he says. He goes to run away, but in a few steps he stops. What the? He tries to run again, but he doesn't get more than a few steps before again he stops confused. Now I'm really sorry. He turns back and steals a pair of pants from the homeless man's shopping cart, as well as a blanket to wrap around his shoulders. Both items of clothing start to burn slowly before he starts to run. This time not stopping, out of the alley, almost getting hit by a car in the process, and we fade back to the present.
Very Terminator-esque.
Yeah. we've had Lois dying like Sarah Connor.
Yeah.
And Clark is scanning the area with his x-ray vision. He sees an imprint of the man that appears from the light, and next to it, 2 bare footprints. Clark says, what's that? He goes to duck under the police tape, but the cop stops him. I don't know how you think these things work, Kent, but in Metropolis, reporters aren't just allowed to tamper with crime scenes. Clark stops. I'm sorry, but just there on the ground, I think I see something under the soot. The cop walks behind the alley to where Clark is pointing. Just there, he says, pointing. The cop kneels down, not seeing it until, wait, what is that? The cop brushes the soot, seeing the scorch marks. Clark says, I don't think the second man was homeless. I think he was the cause of this. Commercial break.
Ooh. So the homeless man was the cause of this.
No, he wasn't a homeless man. He was the cause. Whoever the second man was, he was the cause.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so commercial break's over, and we're skipping forward in time just a little bit more. Lois and Clark are interviewing the person that was driving the car that almost hit the man running from the alley. I'm telling you, it was aliens. A bright glowing orb of light, lightning shooting everywhere. It was coming out of the sky. It looked like someone was having a rave or something down there. Anyway, it's a good thing I slowed down to see what was going on, or I would have hit the guy that came running out. Lois tries to convince the man that it probably wasn't aliens, but the guy is having none of it. We'll take a look at this then. He opens his garage door, where his car is parked. There's a handprint on the hood left by the strange man. The paint has bubbled, and some of the metal on the hood has melted clean through, leaving a distinct hand-shaped hole. How do you explain that then? Lois says, it's certainly strange, but I'm hearing more and more stories about these so-called metahumans coming out of Central City. Maybe it's aliens! The handprint looks human to me. Superman looks human. Maybe it's one of his people. Clark responds, I don't think that's one of his powers. Clark, though, does have a brief flashback to Superboy's deadly touch. Clark shakes his head a little, as if to say, nah. The guy continues talking about aliens as we fade into the next scene, as Lois and Clark are walking away and getting into a cab. Lois says, what a nut job. But something strange definitely did happen, Clark says. I mean, the Byrne's in the alley and his car. But aliens? Why is it always aliens these days? Clark says, I guess it's just the times we are living in. Next scene. A grand hallway as an old man in a wheelchair moves through and into a large room. In the centre is a large round table. As the old man looks around the room with a slight smile, he hears a noise. He looks towards a door that's slightly open at the other end of the room. There is light inside and movement. The old man approaches the door. He can hear, where is it? Where is it? The old man sees that the door has a handprint on it burned into the wood. Hello? Who's in there? I'm armed. The old man shouts as he lifts the armrest of his wheelchair, pulling out a shotgun. Nelson? Kent Nelson? Is that you? Who's that? He opens the door and sees the man in the room. It's Jordan Elliott, former Superman of another world. Who are you? You don't know me? Should I? This world is different, but I thought, look, if you don't start making sense, I'm going to have to ask you to leave. This isn't my world. Jordan looking seriously confused. Right, leave. Kent Nelson turns his wheelchair and points towards the door. I know you, as I know that a long time ago you were known as Dr. Fate. Nelson turns back towards Jordan Elliott. I don't know what you think you know about me, but Dr. Fate is dead. I know because where I'm from, I worked with the JSA from time to time. They called me Superman. I've seen Superman on television. You aren't him. I can prove it. Do you still have the helmet? Cut back to the Daily Planet. Lois is researching arson cases while Clark is searching for metahumans with abilities similar to what they've seen. He briefly stops on a page about a meta-human hero named Firestorm. But seeing as his last feat of heroics was only that morning on the other side of the country, he moves on. He sees a headline from Daily Planet 1949, Invasion of the Fire People. Along with a mention of the JSA and the name Kent Nelson, credited as having provided the JSA with an artifact capable of defeating the Fire People. Really, this is a reference to an actual comic, and that's all they were ever called in the comic was the Fire People. It's a crap name, but I wanted a reference to actually throw in.
Well, it's comic book accurate, so I'm sure Chris will love that. But I love that you introduced Dr. Fate into the Superboy world.
And by extension, the entire JSA happened.
The entire JSA,
yeah. In this universe, the entire JSA actually happened. Maybe not in the same way as in the comics, but you know.
But they're there. That's
Yeah, they're there if we want to use them in the future. But so yeah, Clark is looking Kent Nelson up after seeing the mention of him in the newspaper. He finds that he lives in Metropolis and gets the address, saying under his breath that it's a long shot, but maybe Nelson can help in some way. Clark tells Lois he's going to look into a lead. Lois says, me too. Cut outside as Clark tells Lois, good luck with your Firefly. Lois replies, good luck with your old guy. They go their separate ways as Lois's cab drives off. Clark runs into an alley and flies into the sky across the city in the opposite direction to Lois. Commercial break before Act 3. So, Firefly's got a mention as well.
Wow.
Because there's a lot of fire going on in this, and I just thought if there's there's a fire-related incident happening, they're going to start looking for metahumans with fire-based abilities, aren't they? So, yeah, and Firestorm obviously got a mention, but obviously he had nothing to do with it.
I wonder, it's pretty funny because, remember the episode with Katia and Peter J. Fernandez with Matt? That was all fire stuff. So it's
I thought about making it about the Sons of Icarus, but
yes, yeah,
I just
hard to adapt something like that into.
They pretty much swore that they wouldn't do it. Again at the end of that episode. So
yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
Maybe,
what if one of them just went rogue or something? Who knows?
Maybe.
But
I mean, it's something I considered, but.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't think I could make it fit realistically with the ending of that episode.
Gotcha.
But, So, Act 3, Superman is flying over Metropolis as he stops for a moment, muttering the address 1940 Brownstone, which is the actual address of the JSA mention in the comics. Looking ahead to see various street signs with his supervision. As he spots Brownstone Drive, he hears the sound of someone shouting, "Shut up!" and another voice saying, "You want them to shut up? I'll just torch them. We don't need hostages." Superman sighs, turns around and flies towards Metropolis docks. He uses his X-ray vision to spot the villain Firefly inside, flamethrowers pointed towards a warehouse worker inside a warehouse. As Firefly pulls the trigger, time slows as Superman flies inside, crashing through the wall, getting in the path of the flamethrower, shielding the worker. He grabs the flamethrower, crushing the barrel and bending it. He then thrusts the gun back towards Firefly, knocking him out cold. The henchman tries to run, but Superman throws the flamethrower across the warehouse, hitting him on the head, knocking him out cold too. Cut to outside, Superman flies the hostage outside to the dock before returning and coming out with Firefly and his henchman. The hostage thanks Superman, still visibly shaken but calming down. Superman hears the sound of a car approaching. Inside he hears Lois asking the cabbie to speed up, get there. The cabbie says he's driving the speed limit, and Lois replies, "You're about the only Metropolis cab that does drive the speed limit." The cab driver says, "I take that as a point of pride, ma'am." The cab pulls up. Lois gets out just as Superman is flying away. Lois looks up, flying away as usual. "I'll get that interview eventually." Cut to Superman flying across Metropolis. He smiles as he hears Lois say that, but right now he's got a job to do. Superman lands outside a stately manor on the outskirts of Metropolis before walking behind a building to change back into Clark. As he walks, he focuses his hearing inside the manor, just in case. He hears screaming from Kent Nelson. He's already changed back into his Clark Kent persona, but runs inside, breaking down the door as he goes. No time to be careful, someone's in trouble after all. He sees Jordan Elliott, his feet burning through the floor, as Nelson, Dr. Fate helmet on, holding Elliott's hand. His hands are on fire. Clark runs up to him and tries to remove his hands from Elliott's head. As he does, he gets a flash of psychic energy as he too sees what happens in Jordan Elliott's world. Clark screams just as Elliott screamed, and he realises Dr. Fate wasn't screaming because of his hands, but because of what he was witnessing. Elliott looks at Clark on the ground, part of his shirt burned away to reveal the red and yellow of his S. Your name wouldn't be Clark, would it?" Clark collects himself and looks at the mustachioed man, puzzled. "I went by that name too for a long time." Clark stands up. "You mean you're from a different Earth? Sounds like you've had experience with different Earths, but it's quite rare for me. I saw what happened when I touched you. Was that Lois? My wife." "Wife? You aren't together here?" "No, I mean, we've only known each other a little over a month." They talk as Clark removes his Clark Kent persona. No point in wearing it now. He trusts these men even if he doesn't fully understand why. Elliot tells Clark about his son, how they're all gone, swept away in a tidal wave of impossible energy. Jordan Elliott's thoughts and speak are erratic. As he's trying to get his thoughts straight, fighting back tears, he's just failing to keep himself composed. He tells Clark he didn't mean to kill the homeless man. He must have been hit by something as he appeared in this universe. Maybe a wave of that energy he talked about. Clark tries to calm him, telling him it's not his fault, none of this is his fault. Elliot keeps saying that he failed everyone. He failed his family. He failed everyone. Clark tells him that there are some things that even a Superman can't stop, and that he's not looking forward to the day he finds out what it will be for him. Despite his optimism and hope, he knows that eventually something may be too much for him. Dr. Fate simply says, "Fate finds all of us eventually," as he steps out of his wheelchair, powers restored. Commercial break.
Dun dun dun. It was good. No, I love that Clark, I love the Jordan Elliott interaction. That's really,
Yet another reference to Roads Not Taken.
Yeah.
And, I mean, it happened back in... I want to say that it did still happen for the Golden Age and Silver Age Superman. They definitely visited other universes. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't quite as... Superboy visited a lot of them in a very short span of time.
He did. What was it? On the series, it was Ron Ely's Superman. Yeah. And then little jungle baby Clark. Yeah. The alternate Superboy that killed Lex, and the Sovereign. Yeah. Am I leaving any?
That's 4. So I mean that's quite a lot for the span of
in 4 episodes. Yeah,
and it's all in the same season, the second half of the same season. Mm-hmm. So let's move on to the next bit. Dr. Fate says simply, "Fate finds all of us eventually," as he steps out of his wheelchair, powers restored. I put that line in there again because I figure commercial break, they often back in the day had the same line.
Dramatic effect, and then fade to black. Right?
Yeah. You watch any episode of Star Trek TNG, it actually happens quite a lot that they say more or less the same line twice. But Dr. Fate stands with the 2 Supermen, Clark now back in the suit. Dr. Fate is holding a blue gem which appears to contain liquid. He tells Jordan Elliott to break the gem, that it might not work, but the liquid inside should remove his excess heat, at least it's worked before. This gem is supposedly the last remnant of another universe long since destroyed, the only thing to make it out. Legend has it, it was made for this exact purpose, but legends have been known to be wrong from time to time. Elliot asks what legends says destroyed the other universes. Fate tells him about an event known as the Byrne, the death of one universe in creation of another. The germ was found in Ireland, the name Byrne coming from the anglicised Gaelic meaning descendant of Bran or the Raven, a symbol associated with death in many cultures. Elliot crushes the gem and a wave of emotion and blue light washes over him. He falls to his knees once more, not with rage, but relief and sadness, finally able to feel the extreme loss that he's taken. I don't know how to live without them, he says. Clark puts his hand on Elliot's shoulder. I can't imagine the loss you're feeling right now, but you're not alone. Dr. Fate agrees and tells him this house was once a safe haven for the JSA. It will be again. You're welcome to stay as long as you need. I don't have my powers anymore. Coming here almost killed me. I don't know if they'll return. I can't be a hero anymore. Superman tells him powers don't make the hero. You'll always be a Superman. Jordan Elliott smiles for the first time since the start of the episode as he pulls out of his pocket the diamond his son made. Clark smiles. Dr. Fate sits back in the chair, removing his helmet, and Kent Nelson smiles too. Fade back to the Daily Planet building exterior as Superman flies down to an alley. He emerges as Clark with a new shirt to replace his burned one. As he walks to the door, Lois gets out of a cab, pissed off, soaked from head to toe. She sees Clark and yells after him, I certainly hope your lead panned out better than mine, Smallville. Nope, dead end. What happened to you? Don't even talk to me, I'm too... Ugh. She reached into her bag, she pulled out a fish. Not one word. I think I might have forgotten to mention earlier, when Superman flew off when Lois was at the docks, he inadvertently sort of blew her into the water. So I think I may have mentioned...
Yeah,
I think
you
I might have
mentioned
forgotten.
that.
Yeah, I must have skipped over a line back then, I just realised. Apologies for that, viewers. But yeah, Lois says, not one word. Clark makes a zip motion to his lips and laughs. Credits. Post-credit scene. Two figures dressed in futuristic armour are in the alleyway from earlier. One says, dimensional tear repaired and further investigation is required. The other says, I'm seeing interdimensional radiation in this direction like footprints in snow. A radio transmission in their helmets responds, always a flair for the dramatic. Our readings show the anomaly has disappeared. He must have returned home. Yeah, or burned up. Indeed. But either way, your orders to return home will monitor the situation from here. Acknowledged. A portal opens and the armoured figures step through it. As the portal closes, a giggle can be heard and a small purple hat can be seen resting on a trash can. Two eyes open on the trash can itself and wink, giggling as we fade to black. The end.
Oh, I love that. That was cool.
Yeah. I think we all know whose purple hat that is.
Uh-huh.
So
I loved the stuff with Jordan Elliott and Dr. Fate and Superboy and Superman, sorry. But I love...
he's definitely Superman now.
Yeah, I love...
He's dealing with much darker subject matter. Like 3 and 4, season 3 and 4 were dark, but you know, now he's Superman. It can go even darker.
Even darker. Yeah.
Certainly darker than Lois and Clark ever went.
Yeah, but I love that Clark still has that sense of like, telling Jordan Elliott, yeah, you lost everything, and powers aren't everything to be a hero. I love that he's assuring him, like, even without powers, it's the man who is the hero and your actions. So
absolutely. I mean, that's exactly what it is with Superman, though, isn't it? Like, he's not just Superman because of what he can do. Like, he's Superman because of the way he was raised and everything like that.
Right. And it's just who he is at his core, like you said. It's just ingrained in him. Like, you're a hero even without powers. So, and I love that he's reassuring somebody in Jordan Elliott, that Superman from another world, yeah, even without your powers, you still mean something. So yeah.
I mean, I felt it was important as well, just despite the fact that this episode deals with some very quite dark and it could be depressing subject matter. Like, it's important that Superman is able to keep that sense of hope and optimism in the face of it, because that's part of what makes Superman Superman. Like, he can be going up against some of the darkest, most depressing and sad and just evil in the world, and somehow he just manages to keep his sense of optimism, because I think Ma and Pa Kent instilled that in him, and that's an important part of the character.
Right. And
And
I really liked the George Reeve imagery that you brought into this, with him bursting through a wall, with Superman bursting through a wall, him,
I mean, that's classic
that's
Superman.
classic
He,
Superman.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, he easily could have just flown through the
Right.
entranceway to this warehouse, but it's like, someone's about to get shot with a flamethrower. He can't afford to take that extra second to,
Yeah.
yeah,
And bursting through, it was very, as you were giving your pitch, I was just thinking of those classic 1950s episodes of him bursting through the cabin wall, that classic shot of George. Just him bursting through bricks. Yeah, I mean, Dean Cain did it a couple times in Lois and Clark. So, yeah,
I'm
I
sure
really liked
Superboy
them.
did it as well in the show at some
Yeah.
point. I know Bizarro did it in his first scene. He did it to get out of a building, but
Well,
it's the same thing, really. He burst through
we
a wall.
well, the episode we talked about the other day, as we were in the live stream, I had pictures from Test of Time. He burst through the house wall, in
Mm.
Test of Time. So that was all brick. That was pretty cool.
It's always a fun Superman moment,
Yeah.
and it was important as well. I just thought I've got to show off a wide range of his abilities. So, obviously, I
Hmm.
had him use his X-ray vision. I had him use his supervision for basically the telescopic version of it, so he could zoom in on street signs as he was flying places. I always figure that Superman probably has to do that anyway. If he's flying somewhere, he's using his vision to try and locate where it is he's going, because there's no way he's got Metropolis's map memorized, is it? So yeah,
Hmm.
that was fun, and always a fun Clark moment. I think whenever he points out something to someone and they're like, "How did you spot that from over here?" And he's yeah. Often Lois and Clark shows like that, or I think in Superboy he said it once as well. I fail to remember when it was, but he's always just like, "Yeah, I have a really good prescription," as he adjusts his glasses.
But I loved Superman blowing Lois into the water by
Yeah.
accident.
I don't know
It's
what happened. As
okay.
I was reading it, I just skipped over that line. So apologies to everyone.
It's
But
okay.
yeah, Lois turning up covered in water with a fish in her pocket didn't really make sense without that line. So yeah. Oh well.
Oh well. It's
Yeah,
okay. So
it's fine.
as season 5 continues, like, that was a great episode. I really enjoyed it. I loved
I'm
bringing
glad you
Dr.
enjoyed it.
Fate in. I love bringing in another Superman from another world. I love it was just really cool, just again opening up the multiverse and adding some characters that we really haven't seen
Mm,
before, other than in Smallville we got Dr. Fate. But we're gonna get Dr. Fate in Black Adam, that's coming out very soon. But like,
yeah.
to see Dr. Fate
It's
in
funny
this.
when I wrote this, because this has been written for about a month and a half.
Uh-huh.
I didn't even know Doctor Fate was going to be in Black Adam
Yeah,
at the
and I didn't
time.
know it was.
So when I saw him, I was like, "Oh wow, Pierce Brosnan. That's a
Yeah.
good choice as Doctor Fate." I
Yeah.
kind of that's the thing I wanted to discuss with you. Who do you think should play Doctor Fate in this episode? Slash Kent Nelson. He's got to be an older gentleman,
Oh.
but I haven't
So
decided on a casting choice. I thought it
wow.
could be fun to open it up and we
What
could come up with
um
something.
wow.
Also, Firefly. Someone's got to play
Who would
Firefly.
I cast as Dr. Fate in the 90s? Who would
Yeah,
who would I
that's the
cast?
difficult thing. I could choose an
Wow.
older actor now, but it's like
Um
this would have to be 1993, I think. So,
yeah.
or 1992. So,
Somebody that was big on television at the time, that Superboy could get. But
yeah.
oh god.
The only thing I can think is maybe the guy that played Lex Luthor's butler in Lois and Clark. He was an older
No,
British gentleman who was. I
I
don't
got
know.
somebody. I got
Go for it.
somebody in mind. Um, if you've seen the Dark Shadows revival 1991 series, the gentleman who played Barnabas Collins, Ben Cross, who
Was
is,
he? In, did he play Spock's father in Star Trek
yes,
2009? Yeah,
Yes.
he's a good actor. Like, yeah,
I
that's a
would
good
go with Ben
choice.
Cross. Yeah.
Ben Cross it is. Yeah.
And he was a phenomenal Barnabas. Like for those 13 episodes, I really enjoyed his Barnabas. It was very, I mean, that series, when I go back and look at it now, it's very campy, but
Yeah.
like, they were using storylines from the 1960s soap opera and just kind
It's
of
funny.
blending everything into that series. And it was so good. I really enjoyed it. But I think he would make a perfect Dr. Fate.
Yeah, he would.
Yeah.
Like he's very good as Sarek in
Yes.
Star Trek 209.
And that voice is just
He's
that he
got a
has
great
is
voice. Yeah,
so like it's like Timothy Dalton. That's another one that I could see as Dr. Fate.
that would be pretty decent. I'm
Cuz he
thinking
has
we
that
might find something for
voice.
Timothy Dalton yet.
Right?
But Timothy Dalton's not that old at this point. He's obviously it's only a few years after he was Bond.
Yeah. That
So
what like
maybe I'd
what
have
he
to
was
find
Bond in
something for
89? What
something like that. Yeah, so it's only like 3 years after he was Bond. So
yeah, I could
maybe I'll have to
definitely
find him a slightly younger role
yeah,
because Kent Nelson. He's obviously quite an older guy. He worked with the JSA and he's long since retired, so it would have to be an older gentleman. But someone like Ben Cross would be good, but purely because he probably could play it older. They could put him in slightly older age makeup, but
right.
because he is still a little bit younger, like he when he becomes Doctor Fate, he's got the athleticism. You wouldn't have to get a stunt double to wear the helmet. He could still play it. So yeah, I like that. That's a good casting choice. That's the one.
Yeah, that would be my pick. I really like Ben Cross. I think he was an amazing actor, and rest in peace. He passed away, I want to say like 2 years ago or
He
3 years
died.
ago.
I didn't know
Yeah,
that.
he passed away.
Oh, that's sad.
But he was my Barnabas Collins growing up. I mean, Jonathan Frid was
I never saw Dark
was
Shadows.
amazing. Yeah.
I think I saw the Johnny Depp movie and I didn't think much of it. So
Yeah,
yeah,
wasn't that great.
yeah,
Not a fan. I mean, I've seen it. It's okay, but that's not Dark
it was
Shadows.
funny enough. It was just very
Yeah.
forgettable.
Um.
But
s-
yeah, so Firefly.
Yeah.
Firefly is a character that's been both male and female, but since this is 1993, I don't think the female version was created yet. But
Okay.
that's not to say that we couldn't have the first one. So who do
Right.
you think, just as a one-off fun cameo actor, who do you think would make a decent Firefly? Because I mean, presumably this character could come back later in the season and have an episode dedicated to them.
Wow, a 90s actress for Firefly.
Yeah, doesn't have to be female, but it can be if we want. I'm just trying to think of some actors from the
Yeah.
time that I think would be good. I mean, maybe
Um
someone.
Jillian Anderson. I don't know.
Why not?
And she wasn't even discovered yet. So like I
We can get
mean,
her cheap then.
yeah. So I mean, I could think of Jillian Anderson, like she would be great.
That would be
Um
good actually, because she's got like red hair as well. So maybe
yeah.
we could highlight that
That's
and
that's what I was thinking. I was
have
like,
her
okay,
head looking fiery.
who's a redhead that like at the time was like
Yeah.
really interesting, a great character. She's a great character actor. So
Oh yeah, she's one of the
um
best.
I'm trying to think somebody else.
Maybe
um
someone who was in Sliders, just because I think that show
oh,
had a lot of
Sabrina
good
Lloyd.
actors.
I
She
mean,
could be
Sabrina
good.
Lloyd
She
would
could
be
be
good.
interesting.
Kari Wurr, who played
Yeah,
Maggie Beckett.
I think maybe Sabrina Lloyd is the one.
Yeah, yeah, I would go with
Because I mean,
Sabrina. Yeah.
I think she's great, and it's just sad that she's not in more these days. Like I
Yeah.
don't know what she's been up to lately, but she was really good in Sliders. Like she's one of those actors that I wish continued to have like a major screen presence. But what
Mhm.
can you do?
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, that's basically all the new casting choices. I was thinking that Lois, like when she dies at the beginning, would still be played by Terry Hatcher, although we would age her up.
Uh-huh.
Um, and obviously, I was also thinking it could be fun because obviously he loses his young son uh, right at the start, and maybe the kid from that could be the same kid that played young Clark in Road to Hell.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think I mean, this isn't a one like the beginning. I've changed a fair bit from the actual ending of whatever happened to the Man of Tomorrow. So we
Uh-huh.
could age the kid up a little bit.
Yeah.
It wouldn't necessarily have to be a toddler, but yeah, I
Like
think
10
maybe
years
he
old,
would be
11
good.
years old.
Yeah,
Yeah.
why not? But yeah, that's basically it for that episode.
I liked it. I really liked it. It had a very Terminator feel to it, if you ask me. It
It
was
had some
cool.
Terminator stuff. It had a
Yeah.
little bit of a reference to Star Trek Discovery season 3,
Yes. The
which isn't
Byrne.
which
The
is far
Byrne.
from my favorite Star Trek show. But I mean, it had
Ugh.
some decent concepts. It even
Yeah.
had a little bit of the anomaly thing. I forget what they call it in the current season as well. A little bit of
Uh,
just a bizarre
some
anomaly that's just ripping through planets.
some stupid acronym. I've been watching
Yeah,
it.
it's
I
like
don't
a
know.
3-letter
The
thing.
uh yeah, it's
DMA or
dumb.
something.
DMA, that's
Yeah,
it. The DMA.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm not a
It's
big
funny. Every
fan of
time I
new
see
Trek.
DMA, I just think of like the Grand Theft
DMA.
Auto games.
More like the
DMA
DMV.
designs.
I'm like the DMV. We're going to the DMV.
Yeah,
Like what the hell? What?
yeah. But
But
I also thought it would be fun as well because it's not a one-to-one recreation of the end of whatever happened to the Man of Tomorrow, which means that technically we could do our own Crisis on Infinite Earths eventually,
uh-huh.
but that is way off in the future.
I'm gonna
But
just I'm
it's just to say this time the Byrne is what killed that Superman, but there's infinite Earths, so there's probably so by definition there's an infinite number of Earths where that happened.
right. And it's
So
it's it's possibly foreshadowing our Clark's future. It could be.
potentially. I
We
mean,
don't know.
he's saying like he was married to Lois, and Clark is like, what? Like, I mean,
Yeah.
how is it's going to be interesting moving forward because I think the next episode of season 5 is one that Chris is writing, which is a Metallo episode, which I'm just giving a little plug, like that's coming, and I can't wait because he's told me some of the ideas that he's got in it, and it's awesome. It's really really cool,
Cool.
and but I think the next episode I write, I may have Clark wrestling a little bit with it. Like he's almost like, well, I know on this other Earth, me and Lois ended up together, but
Uh-huh.
it's still early days for Clark. So maybe I'll actually play into the fact that at the moment he's not really into Lois
Right. But I
because
love how you write her. She is very, in his face and very go getting.
she's very
Yeah.
go getting. She's confident. She
Right.
takes no nonsense from anyone.
Right. She
Yet we still have the slight slapstick moments that, like the
mhm,
falling in the water, like
right.
which is very Terry Hatcher's Lois Lane. Like, I didn't want to completely lose that element of her. I want some of the comedic elements that she did so well because that's part of why we love her in the character. So
Right. And I,
yeah,
I love that she has zero time for Clark. It's about getting the
yeah,
story. It's about I love what you wrote at the end of this episode. I'm gonna get that story with Superman. I'm gonna get
yeah.
it. And
I'm
I
gonna
love
get that
just
interview. Like every
yeah,
time Lois has seen it, Superman so far, Superman's flown away before she can
right.
speak to him. But it's like she's gonna get that interview. Just wait and see.
But I
But
could I could so see that scene with Terry trying to run over or run up on Superman, going Superman, 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 like, and then he's like, "Pfft," he's out
yeah.
of there.
And
So,
Superman hears her. He's got super hearing.
oh
He
yeah,
knows. He knows,
oh
but
yeah,
he's busy.
uh huh,
Like she doesn't know that he's heading. Obviously, she doesn't know where he's going because she doesn't know he's Clark. But it's she just will just have to assume that either he's flying away because he doesn't want the interview, or maybe he's just going to help somebody else.
yeah.
And yeah, it's always a fun thing to play with. Yeah.
But yeah, it was. I really enjoyed this episode. I loved like the idea of Doctor Fate, the Jordan Elliott angle of him losing his world and then coming to this world, and our Clark being the one to say to him like, "Hey, you know what? It's not about the powers. It's about the man and
Mm.
what you do that makes you a hero." And I love the Doctor
Plus,
Fate
that version of
stuff.
Superman had retired anyway.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's like maybe he sees this as an opportunity to. Maybe he's thinking now that he's not on his Earth and all of that. Like, maybe he's thinking maybe I would come out of retirement if I had my powers, but
hmm,
I kind of don't have that option.
right,
So, I mean, maybe I'll have him get his powers back by the end of the season because part of the reason I'm introducing so many otherworldly elements is because I do plan on the finale involving multiple Supermen, and we're gonna have the one that killed Lex Luthor back. We're gonna have Ron Ely back. We're gonna
Hmm.
maybe even, I mean, let's face it, this is fictional. This isn't
Yeah.
happening. So we can get Christopher Reeve to come back for a cameo.
Right. Right. When I look at that Superboy 16 comic from the tie-in, we talked about this on the live stream. That cover is so iconic of when Superboy meets Superman. It's just a great moment, and I love that they kept the fedora, and it's the Kurt Swan cover, and it's just so great. I love that image. I wish
mean,
we got
maybe
something
even
like that on the series. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, mate, it's a shame. Obviously, George Reeves. I mean, I do try to keep some rules for myself. Like, I can't say, "Oh, George Reeves is coming back via deepfake." Is like, because you didn't have that in 1993. We can't, and it would be very, very difficult to have a George Reeves cameo. But Kirk Allen is still alive. Maybe he
Yeah.
could come back as an elderly Superman. I mean,
Yeah.
he wouldn't be able to do very much, but maybe we
But
can have a sequence where he appears briefly and, helps come up with a plan. Maybe just
yeah.
because he's the one with the most experience, like he's even older than Ron Ely's Superman. So yeah,
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
it's fun to think about. Like, it's just, this a whole season 5 thing. It's just basically a thought exercise.
Yeah.
We're working within set rules,
Hmm.
but we'll see how it
Yeah,
goes.
we can't have Clark meeting like Spider-Man or anything like that from the Marvel universe. We can't do anything like that,
Yeah.
but it would just be
Well,
cool.
did
We
I
can't
tell you some of
we
the
can't
crazier ideas I did have briefly?
yeah, go ahead. Well, we're
Yeah.
talking about what's to come. What is to come in season 5, so we're hinting.
Okay.
We're just
I tell
messing
you
around.
what. This is a slight variation. This is what's not going to come. These are some of the brief, crazy ideas that I had that obviously aren't going to happen. But I thought for a moment maybe this would be interesting and fun. But it's not going to happen. We're not writing these episodes. I briefly considered a Power Rangers crossover. Like, how fun would that
Oh
be?
my
I mean,
god. Yeah.
I I made me think that because there was a few years back they did a Justice League Power Rangers crossover comic series,
Yeah.
and it was
Yeah.
really good. Like, it
Was it
was
good?
really, really good. Yeah,
Wow.
like it surprised the hell out of me. And I thought maybe that would be fun sort of thing to adapt, but no, it's not going to happen. And then I thought maybe, you know what, another hero with Super in the name who got a movie around that time, Bob
Uh-huh.
Hoskins as Super Mario.
Oh jeez.
Crossover with the Mario movie. It's not going to happen. But
No.
I thought, it is television. Stranger crossovers have happened.
Well, I
It's
have one that it
Go
just
for it.
kind of popped in my head just now as we were talking about crossovers in the 90s.
Maybe
Um
Sliders could cross over. One
um
of the universes they visit is the DC
yeah,
universe.
I could see Quinn Mallory looking up like, this dude could fly? What the hell? Like, what? I mean,
Wait, that's Superman from the
that's
comic books.
Superman?
He's
What the hell?
fiction.
Professor Maximilian Arturo going, that just defies all the laws of gravity. What is he? What is that guy? So yeah. But if I had to do a crossover around this time in the 90s and both of these television series were still going strong on the air, Superboy and this other television series. This series has been in the news recently, and I've been dying to talk about this reboot that they're
Yeah, I know what you're talking. I know what you're.
getting. I would love to
Yeah,
see Dr. Sam Beckett leap into Clark, and like it'd be so
yeah.
weird. It'd be so funny. It'd be like there'd be some great comedic
I mean,
moments. I
that would be
think
great. What year did Quantum Leap finish?
93.
So we're
93.
right around the right time. Like, it could
That
sort
went
of
5
be.
seasons, and Superboy went 4 seasons. It's Quantum Leap started in 89
Yeah,
and finished in 93. So,
that's interesting.
but
Yeah,
yeah, I would love to
I don't
see.
see why that couldn't happen necessarily.
Yeah,
It might be more interesting if he leaps into Jimmy Olsen, and it's the day Jimmy
Jimmy
Olsen died.
Olsen or
It's like
or
it's
Lois
like he's got to
Lane
stop Jimmy from dying.
or Perry White or like any of Superman, or even like I said, or even
Yeah.
Clark or Superman. It'd just be so funny. It'd be one
Maybe
of
we
those
could just make
episodes.
maybe we'll do a Christmas special later in the
Yeah.
year. Like when we get to December, maybe we'll do a season 5 Christmas special, and that will be
Uh-huh.
the Quantum Leap crossover
Oh,
episodes.
it'd
And
be
like
so funny.
he
It'd be so
jumps,
funny.
yeah, Sam Beckett's in there. They meet Santa Claus. Toy Man attacks.
Right. Knick-Knack comes in.
Yeah,
I'm renaming
Knick Knack,
myself
but
the
he
Toy Man. Like,
exactly
I
yeah.
don't know.
But it could
Like,
turn out his name was never Knick Knack anyway. His name was Winslow Shot. So
Winslow Shot. Yeah.
just retroactively make him Toy Man because he was
Oh
Toy Man.
yeah, he was. Knick-Knack was Toy Man. They
Yeah,
just couldn't use the name. So, but that
I
would
mean
be my
that would be fun.
crossover. That would be
I
a
mean, there are a ton of things that we could do with it. Like it's just
uh-huh. Mulder and Scully come to the bureau to
yeah.
investigate Superman.
Turns out, yeah, Mulder used to be an intern at the bureau when Clark
Oh
was
god. That's like
do
those two
flashbacks.
episodes. Those two episodes write themselves. The Quantum
They
Leap
kind
one
of do.
and X-Files. It would just be so funny. And to see Robert Levine as Mr. Jackson go, he was my best field agent.
Yeah, very careful with his money, that man.
Very careful, yes. Very careful. You know how many times we had to spend to get a rental for Mulder? Jeez. And then he'd ruin the car? Like, jeez.
He'd just be like, yeah, like he didn't even spend his per diem. The only time he ever spent his per diem, he bought a new poster with a UFO on it.
He had that
It
poster
kind of
up.
writes itself. Like,
Yeah.
that would be fun. X
Oh, that'd
Files.
be
Like,
so.
I mean,
X-Files and Quantum Leap, I could see
yeah.
working
But
with
that's the thing with
Superboy.
TV.
Yeah.
With TV, you can have crossovers like this, and it's not as big a deal. Like, just say,
Right.
oh, maybe it's airing on that network. I mean, I'd have to
Mhm.
look up. This show would be. I mean, I was thinking for season 5, it would move over to ABC. Was it ABC? Yes, it was.
Yeah, it was
ABC
ABC.
for Lois
Yeah.
and Clark. So
Yeah.
maybe I'll look up and just see what other shows were popular on ABC in
Yeah.
1993, and just we'll come up with a list of what ifs, episodes that will, break down into just.
Yeah.
We'll do a special episode at some point, and we'll just list off just a whole bunch of pitches for episodes that aren't going to be written in full, just to get it, out of our system and just have a bit of fun.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's also fun as well. Like, I mean, if you've got some ideas, like anyone who's watching this on YouTube, like leave us a comment. Like if you've got some fun ideas for like silly crossover episodes that you think would be kind of fun to see.
Yeah.
Put them
Or
in the
even
comments.
just
Like, it would be fun. Maybe we can read a bunch of them out sometime as well.
Yeah.
Like, that would be great.
Or even just a story. Like if you have a story for season 5 or a pitch idea, it doesn't even have to be a complete story. Send it to us. We'll read it on the air. We'll read it.
And like I say, we'll do a special episode at some point where we just read out like 20 short ideas that aren't, fully developed.
Yeah.
And we'll just have a discussion about where we think it could go.
Mhm.
I mean, there's like some stories. Like, I mean, there was one I was thinking a while ago as well that I think I told you about, Sam, where I just thought, what if Superman had a zombie apocalypse episode?
Right.
Like, how would we write that? And it's like, we would have to do it in some way where Clark could actually cure them at the end, because I don't think leaving most of the Earth's population dead would be very good for the remainder of the show. But
could be like what was
maybe that's another Earth. We'll just do an episode set on a different Earth and have the apocalyptic Superman who's wearing like a long trench coat and carries a shotgun.
The nightmare version of Superman. Yeah. Well, not the bad version, but more like Batman. That look.
Yeah, Batman in the nightmare sequence. Yeah, he's got like the long brown trench coat. He's going around with a shotgun. Oh, actually, Superman wouldn't need a shotgun. He could just go around with his fist outstretched, taking people's heads out.
Heat vision. His heat vision just like always
maybe
turned on.
Superman trying to find a way to contain them all without killing them, because he knows at some point he has to, try and save people. But yeah.
So
this is what I'm talking about. We'll have some fun. We'll do some random pitches that probably won't actually become full episodes. And
now I'm thinking about the Quantum Leap pitch, and like how would I write that? That'd be so cool.
It would be pretty fun.
But
like, someone's got to change. All you've got to decide to start writing that script is what is it that went wrong that you've got to put right.
I just want to see I want to see Dr. Beckett just go, oh boy, like.
As he looks in the mirror and he's wearing a Superman suit.
Like, oh boy. Like, that would just be so cool. But I know
maybe
you
he's
hinted
Perry White and he's trying to prevent his heart attack.
Oh, with the palma leaves for his high blood pressure. Like, from Lois and Clark in the pilot. That was so funny.
That was in season 5, episode 2 as well. Actually, the
Oh,
pub
was
quiz.
it?
I think it was. I think I put it
Jeez.
in there.
Yeah. But
But,
but you hinted at Chris's episode. You hinted at another episode that you're gonna do. I talked about briefly about an idea that I had, and I'm still developing it. A Clark character-based episode, and it's very reminiscent of a Spider-Man storyline that I heard, where he just woke up one day and he didn't have his powers, and like I want to play on that riff. Like, what would
that would be fun.
Clark's life be if he didn't have his powers? Like, would he have ended up with Lana? Like, did they have kids? Like, all that stuff. And
That would
something
be fun.
happens.
Maybe it could
Like,
be set on another Earth, and you do set
yeah,
it over the course of years. And
right.
yeah,
So yeah, I'm still developing that
maybe it'd be like
idea.
a day in the double life, but instead of
Yes.
like half truths in everything he's writing in the book, it's all completely true. Like he misses
Yeah.
his bus, so he gets a taxi, and it's like,
Uh-huh.
you know,
Or
it, we could
I
have some real
mean,
fun with that. Like, yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing it.
or even like I'm still debating, like, is it Clark that we're gonna tell the story through, or could it be Lois or Lana? Like, if she visits like Metropolis, and like, you know, her catching up with Clark, and what does she think about him, leaving, and all that stuff. I think it would be an interesting character take, and catch up with Lana Lang, you know, a month after Clark's left. Like, what's her life like now that he's left Capital City and stuff like that. I think it would be cool to catch up with
Yeah,
her.
Lana is going to be in season 5 because she's got the job with Morgan Edge's
Mhm.
media corporation. She's now an on-air reporter, like,
Mhm. Yeah.
paralleling what she did in the 80s Superman comics. So
Mhm.
or even the late 70s, I think they
Yeah.
started at Galaxy.
I think it would be cool, like, how is she covering for Clark on the news side in the press? How is she making him look? Maybe a story where, like, Superman shouldn't have done this, and it's gone against certain political ideologies or whatever, and she makes him look bad, or something to that effect, that causes a strain in their friendship. So
Yeah,
yeah, I mean, there's so many different stories to
I mean,
tell in
I
season
did
5.
float this idea to you
Yeah.
before, but I mean, maybe people can put in the comments about whether they think this is something they'd like to listen to. But I mean, I did actually briefly, I think said to you about it, but I had an idea where instead of writing an episode before the show starts recording, maybe we could actually just come in. We've got like a 2-sentence pitch, 2-sentence synopsis, and we break the episode and we write the episode together live on stream one day,
Yeah.
and we could literally just write it as we go, and we could like be bouncing ideas off each other, seeing where
I
it's
like that.
going. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think that could be a lot of fun. And
We could have a
the cool thing
season
is,
5.
if we do it on stream, people
Yeah.
can put their comments in, and we like if they've got a suggestion. Oh, what if you did this? And we might be like,
Yeah.
yes, we're doing that. And
Well,
I think
that
that
will
could be
be
really fun.
that'll be our next live stream. We're going to set a date. And
Fantastic.
so we could get people excited, and they could come with their ideas, and then we'll have, like what you said, we'll have 1 or 2 sentences, and then from there we'll just
Yeah,
develop the story. So,
that sounds fun. I think people are going to enjoy it. Like, let us know in the comments anyway. Yeah, if you think this sounds like fun and you want to join us and throw your ideas into the mix as we're going, like, I think it could be a really fun thing. So I look forward to that. That would be good. But that's
well,
basically it for this episode, I
that
think.
was a lot of fun. That was so much fun, Tom. Thank you for your pitch for episode 3,
I'm glad you
uh,
enjoyed it. I hope
the
everyone out
Byrne.
there enjoyed it as well.
Yeah.
The
So,
Burn, yeah, spelt Byrne, like John Byrne.
like John Byrne
Did
from the
you, oh,
Man of Steel
I meant
series.
to ask you as well. Did
Yeah,
you notice how I actually looked up where the name Byrne comes from and what it means in Gaelic?
that was cool.
Yeah, it's like
I
when
didn't
I
know
when I
that.
realised Byrne actually comes from basically the word raven in Gaelic or something like that, and
Uh-huh.
ravens are synonymous with death. I thought this kind of makes sense, like for the story. Like,
It
so I was like,
does, yeah.
of course I have to use this, and of course, Kent Nelson.
Uh-huh.
He's an older gentleman. He's obviously very interested in relics, being Doctor Fate and stuff like that. Like, he
Yeah.
would know about that, so it's
Oh, yeah.
fun. But
But I loved how you tied everything together. You brought Dr. Fate in. Jordan Elliott's Superman. Like, it's just like you said, like you're opening this Superboy world up or Superman world up even more now. So,
Oh, this is very much going to be an expansive DC universe. I mean, we've got the perk of it not actually being on television, so we can use any characters we want. So why not use
right.
them? Like we've had Bruce Wayne in the last episode briefly appear. I did briefly consider putting another cameo of him in this one, but it just didn't make sense really for
You're
the
right.
story. But the only place I could think to put him in is have him investigating the alleyway as well. But it's just I'm going to hold off on Batman until I think the next time we see him will be in the suit. So yeah,
Cool.
look forward to that.
Yeah, I mean, come on. Like, who doesn't love Batman? We all love Batman. So, yeah. But
And it's going to be like year one as well. They're not going to get along at first. Like Superman's going to think Batman is brutalizing criminals, and he's going to stop him from catching someone because he doesn't get how Batman works. So it's going to be fun. There's a lot to play with, and we've got the benefit of hindsight, and we've got comics that have come out much later that we can pull inspiration from, as well as comics from before, and the
right.
sky's the limit. That's what I love about this.
Yeah. Yeah, but I really like where we're going with this. I just keep thinking of that special the last issue of the Superboy tie-in comic, that special with all the different versions of Superboy / Superman flying at you, and then our Superboy on the cover flying directly at you. I love that visual. Such a cool visual.
Yeah, it wasn't the best comic, that
No,
story, but we're gonna have a moment very reminiscent of that in the season
yeah,
finale, and we're hopefully gonna do it slightly better because
yeah. I just
yeah.
those
I've,
those
I've already,
cover.
te- I've already, I think I've already told people who the villain in the finale is going to be because it was set up in episode 1 when he
Right.
met when he built the fortress and he saw Krypton's destruction. Like we had the tease of Brainiac,
Yeah.
and Brainiac is such a big villain that it basically has to be a season finale. You
Oh
can't
yeah.
just do that as a one-off episode in the middle of a season. So
Yeah.
yeah,
No,
it's Brainiac. There's going to be a bunch of Superman. It's going to be
it's gonna be
yeah,
awesome.
it's
So,
going to be really really neat. Yeah, it's
well,
Christopher Reeve's going to be in it.
oh god. Well,
Just
we can
because
have
we
we could
can do
have
that,
Brandon Routh, Superman. Well, no, sorry,
No,
no, he
he'd
wasn't
only be
Superman at the
about
time.
15.
Yeah, could have a
But
really young Brandon Routh Superman in this one.
yeah,
No,
maybe
like
he's Superboy in it.
Superboy, a really
Yeah.
young Superboy. But this was a
Mm.
lot of fun, Tom. As always, like thank you. Like that was another amazing pitch. He's 3 for 3, and I haven't even done one yet. Like damn, like so.
Well, we'll write an episode together, and that'll
Yeah.
be because I mean that's the difficult thing about this is like I've gone like months between episodes, partly not just because we've been having to find the time to record it, but sometimes it's a couple of months between being able to actually write something because you kind of with this sort of thing have to wait for inspiration to hit.
Right.
And I was reading, I was literally reading like whatever happens to the Man of Tomorrow, and I thought it might actually be kind of cool to bring in this version of Superman into it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I
Well,
thought
and I
it would
mean,
be fun. And
and what's so great is you went back to the source material, you went back to the comics, and it's so funny because we talked about this over and over and over about the Superboy series, is that they utilize the comic book writers. They utilize elements from the Silver Age. So going back to the comics and plucking characters and putting them into this
I
season
think that's what
5
we love about the
and
show, though,
beyond,
isn't it?
it works. Yeah, it
Yeah,
works.
that's what's great about Superboy. Like Luther Unleashed, the Bizarro episodes, like they're basically almost one-to-one recreations of the original origins of those characters from the comics. So it's like, why I'd be silly not to do the same thing, at least in part. Like it's like we're gonna have. I think I teased it on Instagram ages ago that at some point we're gonna have. I forget the name of the actor. Edward James Olmos from
Yeah.
Battlestar Galactica. He's going to be playing the Bronze Age superhero that often fought Superman, Vartox, which is a character that's never been done
Yeah.
properly in live
Never but
action.
right.
Like the Supergirl pilot had a character called Vartox, but he was just a one and done villain that
Yeah.
had no relation to the character from the comics at all. I think it was just a name drop. But
And that was in the
yeah,
first
he's going to be
season.
in it at some
Yeah,
point.
that was in the
And
first season of
yeah,
Supergirl. Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
and in literally, that episode will be more or less a recreation of the first appearance in the comics. It's just going to be, we're going to have to put our Superboy spin on it, because
Right.
in that comic he threatens to kill Lois Lane because she's the one Superman loves. It's too early for that here, so maybe he'll kidnap Lana instead. So that would be fun.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, I'm really excited to see where season 5 goes from here. I'm excited to add my episode to it. I can't wait for Chris's, and I can't wait for more of yours, Tom. They're just
I can't wait
awesome.
for you guys' episodes.
Yeah.
I'm really looking forward to that. It's going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited for that.
And as always, Tom, thank you for joining me. This was awesome. I hope everybody who either listens to this or watches this has a blast. Like we said the other day, we were doing a live stream and we got a comment from a fan saying, "I hope for more season 5." Well, here it is. You got it.
You go,
and more is to come. So thank you guys for all your support. And for SuperboyTheLegacy.com, I'm Sam Rizzo. And
Tom Gallagher.
So thank you guys, and we will talk to you. We'll see you and talk to you soon. So thanks. Bye, everyone.